It's very easy to walk away from politics right now if you're somebody that is on the right. You might even be a disenfranchised liberal who just doesn't align with the modern day left. You could be a libertarian, perhaps a full-on conservative, or a mix of all three. All I'm trying to say is I understand how challenging it can be sharing your opinion or maybe a viewpoint on a certain issue, but you feel like the other side never wants to listen to what it is you have to say. Or maybe the ones that do listen to you, they say you have the wrong opinion and they know nothing about your true character, but suddenly they assume you must be some horrible person because you have the wrong political affiliation. So I totally get it. You might sit there and you say, this is exactly why I'm done. I'm throwing in the towel. I want to leave these people alone as long as they leave me alone. But you got to remember something. Just because you're no longer interested in politics doesn't mean that politics isn't interested in you. You always got to remember that people on the left are constantly going to throw their hat in the ring, and they're constantly going to spin the narrative into their favor. They're always going to talk about certain issues because they're the ones where their opinions are suddenly perceived as facts because so many of them just repeat it over and over again. They're always going to say something regarding maybe immigration, maybe police issues, maybe constitutional matters, maybe even the role and the size of the government. So you got to realize something. If we all bow out of the political conversation right now, we're just allowing the left to dominate the landscape. And can we really blame future generations a few years from now if they buy into the Democratic narrative when it's the only side of the story that they hear? And that's something I think that people always need to remember when they're thinking about bowing out. I'm not saying you're someone that maybe has to take a little bit of a break because, believe me, I totally get it. At times, talking politics is like, it's toxic and it's tiring. At times, I think it's good to kind of walk away for a couple days, maybe even a week. Come back a little better, a little stronger, listen to some good podcasts, hear some new ideas, kind of relax, right? Get your sanity back, and then you can go back into the ring. It's definitely not something that you can stay in each and every day because you'll make yourself go nuts. But really all I'm trying to get at is, you got President Biden in the White House right now. I can show you news story after news story, topic after topic. Typically, that's what I do. If you're watching the channel for the first time, typically what I would be doing right now is showing you different pictures and we'd be talking about different topics. But the reality is there's so much to get to, and this video could be like 10 minutes long, and I don't want it to be something that's 10 minutes long. I want it to be kind of a quick public service announcement. But what I'm trying to get at, getting back to President Biden, is you have someone who legitimately slurs his words like every other sentence. I understand they'll show you clips where he's coherent and he's able to read the teleprompter, but there's so many videos out there where he forgets like who's standing right next to him, or he can't pronounce certain words. It makes it seem like he has no idea what's going on and like he's a puppet that's running the country right now. So then you really got to ask, well, who's pulling the strings? Well, I guess it's Kamala, or who knows, right? Maybe the deep state. A little bit of a joke, but moving on. Then you have immigration going on right now. Like there's countless stories about it's an absolute crisis at the border because you have so many people trying to cross. So these facilities where obviously President Trump was called the worst person since, the guy who ran Germany in World War II, you had all the kids in cages. You have that same thing going on, but the media spins it. So if we all bow out and we don't talk about this, no one's going to know what's really going on, right? Everyone's going to buy into that left-wing narrative and they're going to think everything is so glorious. I mean, you can go on about, I think the House Democrats just last week, right? At the end of last week, they were trying to introduce new gun control measures. And I'm not talking about HR 127. I'm talking about different issues or different bills. One would make it to where if your background check wasn't completed in a certain amount of days, you weren't allowed to be given that firearm. And it sounds all good to people who have no idea about guns, but you got to realize, if then the people that you're buying the gun from, and obviously this is the background check you're waiting on, if they sit on that background check, you don't get the gun. All right, that's a slippery slope. People who don't know guns will say, oh, you're just being a fear monger. But if you actually know, that's an easy way that they can infringe upon our Second Amendment. But the list goes on. We can talk about taxation. We can talk about, like I said in the beginning of the video, the role, the size of the government. We can talk about foreign relations. We can talk about all the stimulus packages. Should we be printing money? Should we be sending billions of dollars overseas? The list goes on. So all I'm trying to get at is if you're someone that's on the right and you're thinking about getting out of politics, really give it a second thought, because understand something. If we really do want to win future elections, it's not necessarily going to be winning people over that are so far to the left, and really even people that, like, for example, I'm 26 right now. I'll be 27 in a few months. But you're not maybe going to win people over that are above a certain age, because people are set in their ways. But you got to understand, there's a younger population, like maybe even people a little bit younger than myself. Maybe they voted a certain way this past election because maybe they don't know enough right now, or they haven't heard the other side of the story. And then, like I said, you have future generations that are going to be coming up in the next election, right? In 2024, even in the 2022 midterms, you're going to have high school students, or maybe first or second year college students that are, obviously older than 18, voting for the first time. And they really can have a certain impact on the election cycle. And I think that's the reason why we need to stay in the fight and constantly talk about our side of the story. And I'm not telling you to spin things in, like, if something doesn't go right, or someone on our side of the aisle does something wrong, or maybe they step out of line on a certain policy and you don't agree with it, call them out for it. Like, have some integrity. Don't be like all these other people that become bootlickers, okay? But all I'm trying to say is, if we bow out of the fight, you're basically just handing it on a silver platter to people on the left. And then we can't really blame future generations for voting left wing if that's the only side of the story that they hear. That's kind of all I'm getting at. So leave me a comment. Let me know what you think about a video like this. Maybe send it to a friend of yours, someone who's maybe getting a little bummed out with the political conversation right now. Trying to keep people in the fight. Let's think about this long term. Let's come back stronger than ever in 2022. And obviously, let's win back the presidency in 2024. And then finally, restore some freedoms, expand them, and really get this country moving back on track. So like I already said, leave me a comment, like, subscribe. I post a video every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday morning. Just trying to be a new voice in the political arena, someone a little more balanced, just a new viewpoint. So I appreciate you checking out the video, and I hope to see you again sometime soon.